Good morning, students. I'm Sangeeta, lecturer in chemistry, branch general section. Semester 1, working in GPT Narankhed. Semester 1, subject general engineering chemistry, subject code 18C104F. Our major topic is solutions and subtopic solutions and colloids, and subtopic is solutions. Let us recollect what we have discussed in last class. So what we have discussed in last class? Problems on mole. So we solve the problems on mole concept. Then objectives. After finishing this period, you would be able to understand what you have to understand. Calculation of equivalent weights. In last, before that class, we calculated molecular weights. So each molecule is having molecular weight. Similarly, each and every molecule is having equivalent weight. So today we will discuss the calculation of molecular weights. Okay, we will discuss the calculation of molecular weights. So today's our topic is calculation of equivalent weights. So we'll discuss first equivalent weight of acids. So for acids, different formula, for bases, different formula, for salts, different formula. So we'll see one by one. First, equivalent weights of acids. So how equivalent weight of acid is calculated? So equivalent weight of acid is equal to molecular weight of acid by its basicity. So if you want to calculate the equivalent weight of acid, how it is calculated? By this formula. So molecular weight of acid by its basicity. So you should know the molecular weight and you should know its basicity. So what is meant by basicity? You know what is meant by molecular weight. So how to calculate molecular weight also? You know. But you don't know basicity. What is meant by basicity? The number of replaceable hydrogens from one molecule of acid is called basicity. So the number of replaceable hydrogens from one molecule of acid is called basicity. That means, so if one molecule is there, in that molecule, how many hydrogens are replacing? So that how many hydrogens are replacing? That is nothing but basicity. If one hydrogen is replacing, its basicity is 1. If two hydrogens are replacing, its basicity is 2. Like that. So the equivalent weight of acid is calculated by formula molecular weight of acid by its basicity. So if you know the molecular weight and basicity, you can calculate the equivalent weights easily. So here, so one table is given here, acid basicity equivalent. So you don't know how will you get this basicity. So by splitting the molecules, you will get the basicity. So here HCl, HNO3, H2S4, H3PO4, CH3, COOH. So here basicity is given and here equivalent weights are given. So already you know the molecular weights. So I will share the whiteboard so you'll clearly understand the basicity. Okay. So first one, HCl. What is the basicity of HCl? 1. So how will you tell? Its basicity is 1. So that is how it will split. H plus Cl minus. Okay, so its basicity is 1. Then HNO3, H and O3. So how it will split? H plus NO3 minus. So what is the basicity here? Its basicity also 1. So here how many H plus ions are replacing? 1, 1. Next come to CH3, CO, OH. That is acetic acid CH3, CO, OH. CO, OH. How it will split? H plus CH3, CO, O minus H plus CH3, CO, minus. So what is basicity here? 1. So HCl, HNO3, H3COH. Then next H2SO4. How it will split? H2SO4. So how it will split? 2H plus ions, 2H plus ions plus SO4 minus 2. SO4 minus 2. What is the basicity here? 2. Similarly, H3PO4. H3PO4. I will split 3H plus ions, 3H plus ions plus PO4 minus 3. PO4 minus 3. Its basicity is 3. So here, if you see here, in splitting, how many H plus ions you are observing here? Here 1 H plus ion, here 1. So its basicity is 1. So here also 1 H plus ion. So its basicity is 1. So here how many H plus ions? So its basicity is 2. So here how many H plus ions? 3 H plus ions. So its basicity is 3. So like this, if you know the basicity, you can calculate the equivalent weights. Okay. So like this, you have to calculate the equivalent weights. And you should know the molecular weights. So already I told how to calculate the molecular weights. So if you know the molecular weight and equivalent weight of a, if you know the molecular weight and basicity of a molecule, you can calculate the equivalent weight of any molecule. That is, so equivalent weight of acid is calculated by formula molecular weight of an acid by its basicity. So basicity of acids is, I have given here in the table also clearly they mentioned the basicity. So how we are getting, I clarified here. So okay, so now we'll go here. Okay, so HCl 1. So its molecular weight is 36.5 by 1. So its equivalent weight is 36.5 grams. NHNO3, its basicity 1, so its molecular weight is 63. 63 by 1, 63. H2SO4, its basicity 2, its molecular weight is 98. 98 by 2, 49. Then H3PO4, its basicity is 3. Its equivalent weight is 98 by 3, 32.66. And acetic acid, its basicity is 1, 60 by 160. So if basicity is 1, the molecular weight and equivalent will be same. So if basicity 1 means both molecular weight and equivalent weight are equal. If basicity difference now more than 1, 2 or 3, then its equivalent will changes. So here both molecular weight of H2SO4 and H3PO4 98 only. It's basicity 2, so here 49. It's basicity 3, so its equivalent weight is 32.66. So like this we will calculate the equivalent weights of acids. The next, equivalent weights of bases. How will you calculate the equivalent weight of bases? So equivalent weight of base is calculated by formula molecular weight of base by its acidity. Remember there acid for acid by basicity we are saying. For base acidity. So the equivalent weight of base is equal to molecular weight of base by acidity. So what is meant by acidity? The number of replaceable OH minus ions from one molecule of base is called acidity. That means in a base molecule, how many OH minus ions are replacing? That is nothing but acidity. So if you know the acidity of base, then you calculate the equivalent of base by calculating the molecular weight of base. Okay. So we will see the equivalent weight of bases. So now here some bases are given, their acidity is given and they calculated the equivalent weights. Okay. So see NaOH, KOH, very simple molecules. NaOH, KOH, NH4OH, MgOH taken by CaOH taken by. So now I will explain. So how acidity you are getting. So we will share the whiteboard. Okay. So NaOH, NaOH. So how it will split? Na plus OH minus Na plus OH minus. So here how many OH minus ions replace? So 1. So its acidity is 1. The next KOH. KOH. How it will split? K plus OH minus K plus OH minus. So how many OH minus ions replace here? 1. So its acidity is 1. The next NH4OH. It is ammonium hydroxide. NH4OH. How it will split? It will split into NH4 plus OH minus. That is ammonium ion and hydroxy ion. So what is the acidity here also? Here also the acidity is 1. That means only one OH minus can replace from one molecule of NH4OH. then MgOH taken twice, that is magnesium hydroxide. So how it will split? What is the charge on magnesium? So this is first unit. What is the valency of magnesium? How many electrons it will lose? 2 electrons. So magnesium will get plus 2 charge. If you know all this, then only you can write the splittings easily. So no need of writing splittings easily actually. But if you want, if you want to know the acidity, you have to write this spacing. Other than you have to by heart. So 2 OH minus ions. So here, how many OH minus ions can be placed? 2 OH minus ions. So what is the basicity? 2. So similarly, calcium hydroxide. Now I will write aluminum hydroxide. AlOH taken thrice. Calcium hydroxide also similarly Ca plus 2 plus 2 OH minus. So that's why I'm writing aluminum hydroxide. So here, how it will split? What is the valency of aluminum? Al plus 3. This is a third group element. Okay, we lose 3 electrons to get stable configuration. So that's why I like this splitting. Plus 3 OH minus ions. Okay, so its acidity is how much? 3. So like this, you get the acidity of the bases. NaOH1, KOH1, NH4OH1, MgOH taken twice 2, CaOH taken twice 2, AlOH taken thrice 3. So if you know the acidity of the bases, you can easily calculate the equivalent weights of bases. Okay. So like this, you can calculate the equivalent weights of bases. So how equivalent weight of base is calculated? Equivalent weight of base is calculated by formula molecular weight of base by its acidity. What is an acidity? The number of replaceable hydroxy ions from one molecule of base is called its acidity. So here some molecules are given. So from the we will explain here NaOH1. Let's see the molecular at 40 by 140. Similarly, KOH1 56 by 156. So here 56 not wrote here. Okay. Equal to 56. Okay. Then NH4OH1 35 by 135. GOH taken twice, its acidity is 2. So 58 by 2, 29. Calcium hydroxide acidity 2, 74 by 2, it is 37. Like this, we will calculate the equivalent weights of bases. Now next, we will go to equivalent weight of salts. Okay. So how equivalent weight of salt is calculated? The equivalent weight of salt is calculated by formula molecular weight of salt by total charge on cations or anions. Okay, total charge on cation or anion. Okay, so here for acid and base we will take acidity and basicity. For acid, basicity. For base, acidity. But salt, what we will consider? The charge, net charge present on cation or anion. Why we are taking our always the charge present on cation is equal to the charge present on the anion. So here some salt molecules are given, and for that salt molecules equivalent weights are calculated. So NaCl, Na2CO3, MgCl2, MgSO4, CSO. Carbonate, sulfate, chlorides. Okay. So now I will use the whiteboard. So there we will explain its splittings, its charges. First, NaCl, okay, NaCl. So all one chloride, one sulfate, I will explain. So how it will split? Na plus Cl minus. So what is the charge present on cation or anion? On cation one charge, on cation one charge. So don't go to signs, positive, negative. So positive charge and negative charge are equal. So you have to consider just charge. How much charge? One charge. So any one you have to take. So 1. So plus 1 minus 1. It is 1. Then next, NaCl over, then carbonate. Na2CO3. 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 How it will split? 2 sodiums are there, okay? For 1 sodium, 1 positive charge. So 2 sodiums, 2 Na plus carbonate group CO3 minus 2 CO3 minus 2. Okay, what is the charge here? For 1 sodium plus 1, for 2 sodiums plus 2. So 2 positive charges, 2 negative charge. So what is the charge here? 2. Then next, chloride, sulfate will take. MgSO4. MgSO4. So how it will split? Mg plus 2, SO4 minus 2. Mg plus 2, SO4 minus 2. So what is the charge here? Here also plus 2 charges minus 2 charges, 2 negative charges, 2 positive charges. So total charge on cation or anion is 2. And next, CaCl2. CaCl2. So how it will split? Ca plus 2, Ca plus 2 plus SO4 not SO4, Cl minus. How many chlorines here? 2 chlorines. So for 1 chlorine, 1 negative charge, 2 chlorines, 2 negative charges. So total charge on cation or anion, how much? 2. So you have to consider either charge on cation or anion. So for NaCl, 1 charge. For Na2CO3, 2 charges. For MgSO4, 2 charges. For CaCl2, so, and nitrate, NaNO3. Actually, this is not calculated, I think so. But you should know the splitting, no? NaNO3. So how it will be? Na plus NO3 minus Na plus NO3 minus. Okay, so what is the charge here? Plus 1 minus 1. So the charge is 1. So like this, you have to find out the charges on the cation and anion. If you know the charges, then you can calculate the equivalent weight of salt. So how equivalent weight of salt is calculated? Equivalent weight of salt is calculated by where gram molecular weight of salt by net charge, that is total charge present on cation or anion. Okay, so now we'll go to the slide PPT, then you'll see the equivalent weights of salts. Okay, so first one is NaCl. Okay, so NaCl, what is the molecular weight? 58.5 by 1, 58.5. Na2CO3, 106 by 2, 53. MgCl2, 95 by 2, 47.5. And MgSO4, 120 by 2, 60. CaCO3, 100 by 2, 50. So here also same. If charge is 1, both molecular weight and equivalent weight will be same. If charge is different, more than 1, so equivalent weight and molecular weight will be different. So like this, we will calculate the equivalent weights of acids, bases and salts. So how we will calculate the equivalent weight of acid? Molecular weight by basicity. What is basicity? The number of replaceable hydrogens from one molecule of acid is called basicity. Okay. Then how will you calculate the equivalent weight of base? Molecular weight of base by acidity. So what is meant by acidity? The number of replaceable OH minus ions from one molecule of base is called acidity. Then how will you calculate the equivalent weight of salt? Equivalent weight of salt is calculated by molecular weight of salt by total charge on cation or anion. So like this we will calculate the equivalent weight of acids, bases and salts. So what we have discussed in this period? So in this period we discussed equivalent weights of acids, bases and salts. Then objective type questions. So what type of objective type questions you will expect from this topic? So generally, so calculate so and so equivalent weight of so and so molecule. Okay. So the equivalent weight of HCl is. So here no need of calculating all equivalent weight, writing formula. So what is the molecular weight of HCl? First you have to find out that one. H is 1. Chlorine is 35.5. Okay, that is 36.5. So what is the acidity, basicity here? So this is the acid. Okay, what is the basicity? Simple. HCl split as H plus plus Cl minus. So its basicity is 1. So if basicity is 1, so the equivalent weight will be equal to its molecular weight. So what is the molecular weight you got? 36.5. So its equivalent weight will be same. So answer is B, that is 36.5 grams is the equivalent weight of HCl. So first you have to see the molecule, whether it is acid, base or salt. So if H is there, acid, OH is there, base. If H and OH are not there, that is salt. So H is there, so it is acid. So molecular weight by basicity. So what is basicity? Basicity means how many H plus ions here replace. It can replace only H plus ions. So its basicity 1. If its basicity is 1, whatever the molecular weight, that will be the equivalent weight. So the HCl molecular weight and equivalent weight is 36.5 grams. And next come to next question. Acidity of NH4OH. So acidity means how many OH minus ions replace here. So the molecule, how it will split? It will split as, already I explained, NH4 plus OH minus ions. So how many? So when you write the splittings, how many OH minus ions you will observe? Those many OH minus ions can replace there. So here, so what is the acidity of NH4OH? 1. So answer is C. So it can replace only 1 OH minus ion. So the next, go to next one. Equivalent weight and molecular weight is same for. So already I told. So which type of molecules will have same equivalent and molecular weight? When its acidity is 1, or its basicity is 1 or charge is 1. So here are some molecules, all are given. Acid is given, salt is given, base is given. So see here, first one NaOH. How it will split? So first one we will leave the first one. Go to H2SO4. It is split as 2H plus plus SO4 minus 2. That means its basicity is 2. So it is not the answer. And come to CaCO3. It will split as Ca plus 2, CO3 minus 2. What is the charge? 2. So it is not the answer. Then next come to MgCl2, Mg plus 2 plus Cl minus 2. Its charge is 2. So here 2 charge, here 2 charge, here 2 basicity. So here come to here NaOH. NaOH is split as Na plus plus OH minus. So here it is a base. What is the acidity? 1. So when acidity or basicity or charge is 1, then only its molecular weight and equivalent weight is same. So for which molecule molecular weight and equivalent weight is same? For NaOH. So answer is A. So like this you have to calculate the, find out the equivalent weights and molecular weights. Then what type of questions you will expect? So what? So today we studied just equivalent weights. So calculate equivalent weights so and so molecule, whether it is acid or base or salt. Maximum times repeated equivalent weights, compulsory question in the exam. Any molecule, either they will ask acid, they will ask salt, they will ask base. Okay, so you have to calculate the equivalent weight. So how you have to calculate? So first you have to identify whether it is acid, base, salt. If it is acid, you have to write the formula for acid. If it is a base, you have to write the formula for base. If it is a salt, you have to write the formula for salt. Then you should know the, if it is a acid, you should know the basicity. If it is a base, you should know the acidity. If it is a salt, you should know the charge. So like that, you have to calculate the equivalence. So this topic is very, very important. That's why in one class only, I will explain the equivalent weights. So for problems important, and for 3 marks question, calculate the equivalent weight of so and so molecule they will give. Okay. So like this, you have to calculate. So we finish equivalent weights of acids, bases and salts. Okay. Thank you, students.